Let me ask you something real. When people lie about you, when they twist your words just to make you look bad, when they drag you into their chaos just to test your peace, what do you do? Do you take a breath, stay calm, and hold your ground? Or do you let anger take over and react to prove a point that never needed proving? Be honest with yourself. How many times have you walked away from an argument thinking, I shouldn't have said that? I gave them exactly what they wanted. That's the trap. The moment you react, you give them something priceless, your peace. You hand over control of your emotions, your energy, and your focus. You let someone else decide how you feel. Here's what most people never realize. When you react, you lose control. You start playing their game instead of living by your own rules. You become a puppet, pulled by emotions that aren't even yours. But when you stay calm, when you choose silence instead of chaos, you take that power back. You show the world that you're not moved by gossip, lies, or noise. You show that your peace belongs only to you. The louder you react, the smaller you look. But the quieter you stay, the stronger you become. Because silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. It means you understand that not every battle deserves your energy, and not every opinion deserves your attention. When you react, you let others write your story. But when you stay silent, you keep the pen in your hand. You decide how this moment will define you. Silence isn't giving up. It's choosing not to waste your energy proving yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. It's choosing peace over pride. It's choosing control over chaos. Anyone can argue, anyone can raise their voice, but very few can stay centered when everything around them tries to pull them apart. That kind of strength, the ability to stay calm in the middle of a storm, is rare. And that's what makes it powerful. Silence is strategy. It's emotional intelligence in motion. It's mastery over your reactions, your words, and your mind. Because when you can stay still in chaos, you don't just survive it. You rise above it. So if you've ever felt like you lose yourself when things get heated, this is your reminder. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to explain your worth. You don't need to shout to be heard. Your silence is enough. Your calmness is proof of your control. Your peace is your crown. And today, I'm going to share 7 Stoic lessons to help you master that calm, to help you build a silence so strong that it speaks louder than any argument and a presence so grounded that no one can shake it. But before we begin, make this your truth. Write it down. Say it out loud. Type it in the comments as a promise to yourself. My calmness is my control. My silence is my strength. Because once you believe that, nothing and no one can control you again. Now let's begin. Lesson 1. Silence is self-control, not surrender. People often mistake silence for weakness. They think if you don't respond, it's because you're scared. If you don't argue, it must mean you've lost. If you don't fight back, you've surrendered. But that's not the truth. Silence doesn't mean you're afraid. It means you've grown wise enough to know that not every situation deserves your energy. It means you've learned that your peace matters more than your pride. Silence isn't a lack of words. It's a form of control. It's proof that you've mastered the urge to react, the temptation to prove yourself, and the pull of your own emotions. Because anyone can shout back. Anyone can argue. Anyone can throw words into the fire and make it burn hotter. That's what most people do. They react without thinking and then regret it later. But staying silent, that takes strength. It takes real power to pause when your heart is pounding and your ego is screaming to fight back. It takes control to breathe deeply when your emotions are trying to take the wheel. When you stay silent, you're not ignoring disrespect. You're choosing not to let it control you. You're saying, without having to speak, you don't decide my mood. You don't set my tone. I do. That is what true control looks like. Not over others, but over yourself. Because the one who controls their emotions controls the moment. They decide what energy stays and what energy goes. They decide whether peace or chaos wins. When you stay calm in situations where others expect you to explode, you gain something they don't have: awareness. You start to see clearly what's really happening. You see who's trying to provoke you. You see what's worth responding to and what's better left untouched. Every time you stay silent when chaos calls your name, you're building discipline. You're teaching your mind that peace is the priority. You're telling yourself, I don't need to prove my power, I already have it. Staying silent isn't surrender. It's strategy. It's the power to rise above noise without ever stepping into it. It's the ability to choose calm when everyone else chooses conflict. Each time you hold your peace, you grow stronger. Each time you walk away instead of reacting, you become wiser. Each time you stay silent when others expect you to fight, you take control of the moment and of yourself. That's not weakness. That's mastery. That's the kind of strength that can't be shaken by words, by rumors, or by disrespect. That's you, calm, centered, and untouchable. Lesson 2. Silence protects your power. Every argument costs you something, whether you realize it or not. Every time you get pulled into drama, every time you react to something meaningless, you're spending your energy, and energy is your most valuable currency. Think about how many times you've left a conversation feeling completely drained, even though you were right. It's because being right doesn't always give peace. Silence does. You spent energy defending yourself, proving a point, reacting to nonsense, and all the while your focus, your calm, your purpose, they slipped away. That's what reacting does. It makes you spend your power on things that don't deserve it. It empties your tank on arguments that lead nowhere. When you choose silence, you're not avoiding the issue. You're choosing your battles. You're saying, I refuse to waste my strength on what doesn't serve me. You're protecting what truly matters: your mind, your focus, your peace. Because here's the truth. People will test you. Some will do it on purpose. They'll poke, provoke, and push, not to understand you, but to move you. They want to see if they can make you react, because your reaction tells them where your power lies. But people can only control you through your reactions. If they can't make you angry, they can't control you. If they can't make you explain yourself, they can't manipulate you. If they can't pull you out of character, they lose their grip on you completely. The moment you react emotionally, you hand them the remote control to your peace. But when you pause, breathe, and stay silent, you take that control back. Quietly. Completely. With dignity. Your silence tells them, you don't have access to my emotions. You don't deserve my energy, and that's power. Real, unshakable power. Power isn't about who yells louder. It's not about who wins the argument. Power is calm. Power is quiet. Power is knowing you could react, but choosing not to. Every time you hold your peace instead of fighting back, you're not losing. You're storing. You're storing your focus, your self-respect, your emotional clarity. You're recharging instead of wasting. You're building strength instead of burning it. Because silence doesn't just protect your power, it multiplies it. It turns chaos into calm. It turns anger into awareness. It turns confusion into control. The more you protect your energy, the stronger you become. And slowly you start to see it. Not every comment deserves your time. Not every insult needs a response. Not every battle is worth fighting. The greatest warriors aren't the loudest ones. They're the ones who know when to stay still. They don't waste their sword on small fights. They protect their peace like it's sacred, because it is. So the next time someone tries to drag you into their storm, stop. Take a breath. And remember this truth. Your reaction is your permission. Don't give it. Protect your energy. Guard your peace. Move in silence. And let your calm speak louder than their chaos ever could. Lesson 3. Silence speaks confidence. Loud people often crave attention. They talk over others, they interrupt, they exaggerate. They want to be heard so badly that they end up drowning in their own noise. But calm people, they don't chase attention, they command it. There's a quiet kind of presence that doesn't need to shout. It doesn't have to force its way into the spotlight. It simply exists, and people feel it the moment you walk into the room. There's a big difference between trying to be noticed and already knowing you're seen. When you're confident in who you are, you don't chase approval. You attract respect. You don't speak to fill silence. You speak when it matters. You don't try to prove your value. You live in a way that makes it obvious. Some people think confidence is about being loud, bold, and constantly proving themselves. They measure strength by volume. The more they talk, the more powerful they think they are. But that's not confidence. That's insecurity wearing a mask. It's fear disguised as arrogance. It's noise pretending to be power. True confidence doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't demand the spotlight. It becomes the light. It doesn't explain. It shows. It's steady, grounded, and effortless. When you move in silence, people notice. Not because you ask them to, but because your calm energy speaks for you. Your peace makes them curious. Your stillness makes them question their own chaos. Your control makes them wonder, what gives this person so much peace? What do they know that I don't? That's the quiet power of confidence. It creates mystery, and mystery commands respect. Your silence says, I know who I am. I don't need validation to feel valuable. It says, I don't chase approval because I already approve of myself. Confidence isn't found in noise, it's found in control. The person who can stay calm in chaos holds all the power because they're not ruled by the environment. They rule themselves. Confidence isn't about being unshakable all the time. It's about staying centered even when the ground moves beneath you. It's the strength to breathe when everyone else is panicking. It's the peace to stay focused when everyone else is distracted. Think about it. The mountain doesn't move when the wind blows. The ocean doesn't panic when waves crash. The sun doesn't argue to prove it shines. They just are. And so are you. You don't have to announce your worth. You just have to embody it. You don't have to prove your strength. You just have to live it. Because the calmest person in the room is usually the most powerful one. Your silence tells the world that you don't need to be loud to be heard, and you don't need to fight for attention when your energy already speaks volumes. So the next time you find yourself in a room full of noise, don't compete with it. Don't try to out-talk it. Just be the silence that stands out without effort. Because silence doesn't beg to be respected, it demands it. And that kind of confidence, quiet, grounded, unshakable, will always speak louder than words ever could. Lesson 4. Silence defeats manipulation. There are people in this world who feed off reaction. They thrive on drama the way a fire feeds on oxygen. They poke, provoke, and push. Not because they care about the truth, but because they want to see if they can make you lose control. They want to see if they can pull you out of peace. The moment you react, they feel powerful. That's the game. It's never about the problem. It's about control. They want to make you emotional because emotion makes you easy to move. Once they can trigger you, they can guide you like a puppet, and you won't even notice the strings. They don't want truth. They want chaos. They don't want resolution. They want to prove that they can make you bend, that they can control how you feel. That's what manipulation really is. Someone trying to use your own emotions against you. But silence changes the entire game. When you stop reacting, the manipulator loses their weapon. When you stop defending yourself, they lose their grip. When you give them nothing, no anger, no explanation, no attention, you take back everything they were trying to steal. Your peace, your energy, your power. Your silence is their confusion. They don't know what to do with it. They expect you to argue, to raise your voice, to explain, to break. But when you stay calm, they suddenly find themselves face to face with their own noise. They can't fight silence. There's nothing to grab onto. Your peace leaves them powerless. That's because loud manipulators survive on emotional fuel. They need your reaction to feel alive. When you stay silent, you cut off their supply. And the more they try to provoke you, the more desperate they become. They start talking faster, revealing more, and without realizing it, they expose exactly who they are. Let them talk, let them rant, let them twist the story. Eventually, their own words will do what you never had to, reveal the truth. Because truth doesn't need your defense. It only needs time and silence to be seen. You don't need to fight for peace. You only need to protect it. You don't have to lower yourself to their level to win. Your calmness is not avoidance. It's intelligence. It's self-control disguised as stillness. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their chaos back at them. It shows them that no matter what they say or do, they can't move you. And that's what scares them most, losing control over you. Here's the beauty of it. When you stop reacting, they lose the thrill. When you stop explaining, they lose their leverage. When you stop defending, they realize the power was never theirs. It was yours all along. So when someone tries to drag you into drama, remember this truth. The strongest response is no response. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know that silence hits harder than any comeback ever could. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. All you have to do is stay calm long enough for their chaos to expose itself. Because in the end, silence always wins the argument that noise starts. It's not about who talks louder. It's about who stays peaceful long enough to still be standing when the noise fades away. Lesson 5. Silence trains the mind. Every time you resist the urge to react, you're not just staying quiet, you're strengthening yourself. You're training your mind to stay calm when everything around you wants to pull you into chaos. That's discipline. That's power. That's what the Stoics meant when they said that real freedom isn't controlling others. It's controlling yourself. Because anyone can react. Anyone can explode when they're provoked. But it takes wisdom to pause. It takes strength to stop yourself from saying the first thing that comes to mind. And in that tiny moment between what happens and how you respond, that's where your true power lives. That pause is everything. It's the difference between peace and regret, between self-control and self-destruction. It's the space where you decide who's in charge, you or your emotions. You can't control the world. You can't stop people from judging, disrespecting, or misunderstanding you. You can't control every unfair word, every cold stare, every subtle insult. But you can control what gets to stay in your mind. You can choose what gets your reaction and what gets your silence. When you choose silence, you're not ignoring life. You're leading yourself through it with grace. You're saying, I refuse to let this noise build a home inside my head. Every time you take a breath instead of reacting, you're sharpening your discipline. Every time you walk away instead of arguing, you're proving your strength. Every time you stay calm when anger calls your name, you're teaching your mind who's really in control. That's real strength, not the kind that comes from dominance, intimidation, or pride, but from self-command. It's the strength to stay grounded when life tries to shake you. It's the strength to stay centered when people test your limits. Your mind is a muscle, and silence is how you train it. Not by running from conflict, but by mastering how you face it. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you make your mind stronger. You make your peace harder to steal. You make your focus harder to break. So the next time someone pushes your buttons, stop. Don't take the bait. Don't let their chaos become your storm. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself quietly, is this worth my energy? Is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, then stay silent, because that silence means you just won a battle most people lose every single day. That's how warriors are made, not through rage, but through restraint, not through noise, but through quiet control, not through dominance, but through discipline. Your silence says, I am in control, not my anger, not their words, not the world. Every time you choose that silence, you're building something unshakable inside yourself. You become steadier, you become stronger, you become free. Because once you can master your mind, you can master your life. And the person who can stay silent in the storm will always walk out of it stronger than they went in. Lesson 6. Silence reveals the truth. The ultimate power isn't about controlling other people. It's about controlling yourself. It's not about winning every argument or making others bend to your will. It's about mastering your reactions, guarding your peace, and staying calm no matter what's happening around you. True freedom begins the moment nothing outside of you can disturb your peace. Not what people say, not what they think, not what they do. Not anger, not drama, not noise. When you can stay calm in the middle of chaos, you've already won, because peace means no one owns you, no insult owns you, no opinion defines you, no emotion drags you where it wants to go. That kind of power can't be bought, and it can't be taken away. The truth is, life will keep testing you, again and again. People will press your buttons just to see if they still work. They'll challenge your patience, your kindness, your restraint, not because they need to, but because they want to feel like they can move you. And when you refuse to react, when you choose silence instead of chaos, you rise above the game completely. When you stay silent, you prove that your peace is not for sale. You show that your emotions belong to you, not to anyone's words, not to anyone's ego, not to anyone's need for control. You show that you've mastered yourself. That's what freedom really is. It's not running away from the world. It's standing strong in it, untouched by its noise. It's being able to listen to criticism without losing confidence. It's being able to hear lies without losing clarity. It's being able to face anger without losing compassion. Freedom is when you no longer need to explain yourself just to be understood. When you no longer feel the need to defend yourself to feel valued. When you no longer need to win an argument to know your worth. That's when you've broken free from the control of others and from the control of your own emotions. The world will always try to drag you into noise, but silence is how you walk away without losing yourself. You don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't owe anyone your energy. You owe yourself your peace, because peace is your power. Your silence becomes your boundary. It tells the world, I'm not here to fight for attention, I'm here to protect my spirit. It says, I know who I am. I don't chase noise. I move in peace. That's real freedom. It's not about escaping the storm. It's about standing still in the middle of it and not letting it shake you. It's the ability to be calm when others are angry, to stay grounded when others are lost, to keep your peace when others are trying to take it away. Freedom is when someone insults you and you still choose calm. Freedom is when someone doubts you and you still choose focus. Freedom is when someone provokes you and you still choose peace. That's mastery, that's strength, that's true power. So protect your calm like it's your crown. Because it is. Don't trade it for attention. Don't waste it on arguments that don't matter. Don't give it away to people who haven't learned to master their own, because silence isn't the absence of power, it's the proof of it. And once you reach that point, when nothing outside of you can shake what's within, you'll understand what the Stoics meant when they said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." When you are no longer controlled by chaos, you are finally free. Lesson 7. Silence is freedom. The ultimate power isn't about controlling other people. It's about controlling yourself. It's not about winning every argument or making others bend to your will. It's about mastering your reactions, guarding your peace, and staying calm no matter what's happening around you. True freedom begins the moment nothing outside of you can disturb your peace. Not what people say, not what they think, not what they do, not anger, not drama, not noise. When you can stay calm in the middle of chaos, you've already won. Because peace means no one owns you, no insult owns you, no opinion defines you, no emotion drags you where it wants to go. That kind of power can't be bought, and it can't be taken away. The truth is, life will keep testing you, again and again. People will press your buttons just to see if they still work. They'll challenge your patience, your kindness, your restraint, not because they need to, but because they want to feel like they can move you. And when you refuse to react, when you choose silence instead of chaos, you rise above the game completely. When you stay silent, you prove that your peace is not for sale. You show that your emotions belong to you, not to anyone's words, not to anyone's ego, not to anyone's need for control. You show that you've mastered yourself. That's what freedom really is. It's not running away from the world. It's standing strong in it, untouched by its noise. It's being able to listen to criticism without losing confidence. It's being able to hear lies without losing clarity. It's being able to face anger without losing compassion. Freedom is when you no longer need to explain yourself just to be understood. When you no longer feel the need to defend yourself to feel valued, when you no longer need to win an argument to know your worth. That's when you've broken free from the control of others and from the control of your own emotions. The world will always try to drag you into noise, but silence is how you walk away without losing yourself. You don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't owe anyone your energy. You owe yourself your peace, because peace is your power. Your silence becomes your boundary. It tells the world, I'm not here to fight for attention. I'm here to protect my spirit. It says, I know who I am. I don't chase noise. I move in peace. That's real freedom. It's not about escaping the storm. It's about standing still in the middle of it and not letting it shake you. It's the ability to be calm when others are angry, to stay grounded when others are lost, to keep your peace when others are trying to take it away. Freedom is when someone insults you and you still choose calm. Freedom is when someone doubts you and you still choose focus. Freedom is when someone provokes you and you still choose peace. That's mastery, that's strength, that's true power. So protect your calm like it's your crown, because it is. Don't trade it for attention. Don't waste it on arguments that don't matter. Don't give it away to people who haven't learned to master their own. Because silence isn't the absence of power. It's the proof of it. And once you reach that point, when nothing outside of you can shake what's within, you'll understand what the Stoics meant when they said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." When you are no longer controlled by chaos, you are finally free. ChatGPT said, so from this moment on, make yourself a promise. You will no longer let words break your calm. You will no longer let opinions drain your energy. You will no longer let the noise of the world pull you away from your center. People will talk. They always do. They'll misunderstand you. They'll twist your silence into stories that were never true. They'll judge what they don't understand and question what they can't control. Let them. You don't need to fight to prove who you are. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to explain your worth to people who were never meant to see it. Your silence will speak for you. Your calm will command more respect than any argument ever could. And your peace, that quiet, steady, unshakable peace, will become your greatest power. Because silence isn't emptiness, It's not avoidance. It's not surrender. Silence is awareness. It's strength. It's control. Every time you choose silence over chaos, you rise a little higher. Every time you breathe instead of explode, you grow a little stronger. Every time you protect your peace, you remind yourself and the world, I am in control of my emotions. Nothing outside of me can shake what's within. That is what mastery looks like. Not perfection, but presence. Not the absence of storms, but the ability to stand still inside one. Now take this truth and anchor it deep into your mind. Type it below as a promise to yourself. I control my mind. I protect my peace. I move in silence. You're not just typing words. You're speaking power. You're declaring that from this day forward, you choose self-control over reaction, growth over ego, peace over pain. And if this message stirred something inside you, if it made you pause, breathe, and feel even a little more centered, don't let that moment fade. Hold on to it. Feed it. Hit that subscribe button right now. Join this community of people who refuse to be controlled by chaos, people who rise above the noise, who walk through storms with grace, who are mastering the art of self-control, one breath, one choice, one day at a time. Because silence isn't hiding. It's strength. It's focus. It's freedom. When you can stand still while the world tries to shake you, you've already won. When you can smile while they expect anger, you've already risen above them. When you can stay silent while they shout, you've already mastered yourself. Silence shows you're not controlled. Silence is Stoic power. So stay calm, stay grounded, stay free. Be calm, be strong, be silent.